Hello everyone, and welcome back to Revit Snippets. Great tips you can learn in just a few minutes. This video is brought to you by RV Deep Clean, over 40 ways to clean and downsize your Revit model, all in one place. Get your free copy today by using the link in this video's description. Have you ever wanted to super quickly delete all the imported CAD files or linked CAD files from the model? For linked CAD files, it will be easier because you can just go to Manage, Manage Links, CAD Formats, and maybe unlock them from here. But for imported files, that's a real issue because maybe in a big model, you won't remember where to select and delete them one by one. Well, that's where we can use Dynamo to help you out. If I now open this Dynamo script I have here, the one we will build together today, if I choose to delete imported CAD files and then run the script, as you can see, it has instantly removed 2 imported CAD files from my model. If I want to do the same but for linked CAD files, I can choose to set this to false and flip this, delete linked CAD file node to true. Run this again. And now we know there was 1 file deleted from that last run of the script. If I want to clean my model of any CAD files, regardless of their type, I can undo these 2 transactions there. Set both of these nodes to true and run this. And here we go. It has completed deleting 3 CAD files from my model. Even better, this kind of script is super easy and quick to create. So let me show you now how to do just that step by step. By the way, if you are new to this channel, make sure to subscribe now because we do tutorials like this every single week. If you, however, want to focus on mastering Python scripting in Dynamo, then check out my full Python course in the video description. Okay, let's begin. In this model, I have a few CAD files. If I go to Object Styles now, under Imported Objects, I can see we have this one, and this one. So about 3 of them. Let's now go to Dynamo and remove them all together or selectively. So we can switch to here. Now it's the usual thing I normally do in my tutorials. Let's make now a way for Dynamo to read a text file that contains a Python script. We can then use the text from that file as a script input for this node here. And then it will just run the Python script that we have in the text file. Okay, so now we know the first step will be to put our logic into this test.py file here. I happen to have it already opened in this other window. And now the next step, we will go into Visual Studio Code, my favorite Python script editor for Dynamo. If you are new to this kind of workflow, don't worry. Just go down to this video description and use a link there to see my basic video tutorial on how to script things in Dynamo this way. It will also show you how to set up and use Visual Studio Code because this is really the best editor you can have for writing Python script to use later in Dynamo. The video will also show you step by step how to create and understand and use this Python script template that I have opened already. So that should give you all the information you need to then come back to this video and follow me from here. Okay, let's start scripting here. The first step is obviously collecting the elements we want to delete. So I can start a new variable here. Let's call it CAD files. This will be equal to a filtered element collector on this document. And the class of the elements I want to collect will be of class import instance. Now I can do a for loop here. So for item in CAD files, we can say we want to append the item to the watch list, which is an empty list up here, just so we can preview it at this first step. So append the item to watch. I can now save this file, return to here, and check it. Okay, there's an error. Let's see what that's about. So it's on the line of the filtered element collector. And here we didn't pay attention, but there's a red line there below the colon. So let's remove it and try this again. Here we go. No more error this time. And I have in the output list 3 different CAD files. That's perfect. Let's now go back here and see which one we want to remove. This is where we want to be selective. Maybe we need just the imported CAD files to be removed. Or maybe we want to delete just the linked CAD files. Or maybe we want to get rid of both types. To make it easier, let's go back to Dynamo here and use another node here to specify our selection. I can now go here and just drop in a Boolean node, this basic one. And then we can remove it to delete imported cad only. So now let's choose true for now and connect it to the Python script. Now we can copy this down below and rename this to delete linked cad only. Also connect it to Python like this. And for the case of we want to delete both types, then both of these nodes should be set to true. Actually, in that case, let me rename this. So we can just say delete imported cad. And here we have delete only linked cad. So if we have here true and true, that means we want both types of CAD file to be deleted. Back to Python, I cannot start collecting the Boolean values from the graph. So let's say delete imported. That will be input number 1. And then for input number 2, we can say delete linked, like so. Coming down to here, I want to start a new list as well. Let's call the list IDs to delete. And starting out, it will just be an empty element ID list like this. The objective now is, in this for loop, we want to append the IDs of the CAD files we want to remove into this IDs to delete list. And to do this properly, we need to check these two conditions, whether we want to remove imported or linked CAD or both. So coming down to here, I can say if item.isLinked, then I want to append two IDs to delete the element ID of this object. So item.id, it will be here. Let's see now what we get back from this for loop. I can copy this name down to here to see the output in the Dynamo graph. And let's check it out. Let's save it here. There's an error. Let's see what that's about here. Oh yes, because we have an index that is out of range. If you look closely to here, we have this at index 0 and this other condition at index 1. But in the Python node, I started from 1 and go to 2. So that's an error right there. Let's change this now to 0 and this one to 1. Save it. Check it again. And now coming back to us, it's just one single ID. That shows me that in the 3 CAD files we collected previously, only this one was imported. The other 2 were linked. Let's now do the same for the second condition. So let's say if delete linked. So this will be the condition we pass in here from the second Boolean node. This block here, I should put it under the first conditional statement. So what's going on here is this. We firstly collect all the CAD files from the model. For each one, we will check it to see if it's a linked file. If it is, we then check the condition we pass in from Dynamo to see if we want to delete linked CAD files. If that's true, we want to append the CAD file ID to the list of ID to be removed at the end. That's why I should put these two conditions in a chain like this. If both of them are satisfied, then I want to execute this line to mark this item for removal later in this code. Okay, so this has taken care of this condition. Let's undo the same for this first condition here. To do so, I can go back to this line, come down to here and say else. When the cursor gets down to this point, I know that this item, this CAD file item, is imported. So here I want to say if I want to delete imported CAD, then I can do the same thing up there, which is appending the CAD file ID to the IDs to delete list. Here we go. This may be something easier understood if we see it in action. So let's save this one now. Go back to here and run this. So now we see we have here 3 different IDs for 3 different CAD files because both of these nodes, we have set them to true. If I set them both to false like this, rerun this script, I have nothing. No CAD file will be deleted in this kind of configuration. If I want to remove only linked CAD file, I set this to true now. Rerun this. That's going to give me one item. If I change this back to false and this first condition, let's change it to true and run this. And I have 2 IDs of the 2 other CAD files. Remember, one of them was linked and two of them were imported. So that's how we can now selectively say whether we want to remove only imported files or only linked files or both. As easy as that. Coming back to Python now. With this ID to the list having the right element IDs, I can now start using it to remove things from the model. Super easy as well. Let's start a new transaction object here. TR will be the name of it. And we can start it like this. Transaction on this document of the name of delete CAD files. With that done, I can say tr.start to begin modification to the model. And then at the end, we say commit to save the changes back into the Revit file. Between these lines, I can say doc.delete and pass in IDs to delete as the argument. Here we go. I can now save the file. Go back to here. And let's say we start by deleting the imported CAD files. Let's run this now. You can see one of them has vanished from there, from the model view, and the other one should have done the same as well. I can now return to here and say on the second run I want to remove only the linked CAD files. So let's say false here and true here. Run this again. Now we know this one has been removed and you could only see it too disappearing from the view right there. I can also do both of the conditions as true at the same time. So let me undo the changes to the model, these two transactions there. Now when I set this to true and keep this as true, when I run this, Dynamo will delete all the CAD files in the model, regardless of whether they are imported or linked. So let's see that now. Here we go. So this time I have 3 CAD files removed from me super quickly by Dynamo. If we go to Manage, Object Styles here, under Imported Objects, they are no longer here. This model is now clean of any CAD objects. And the good thing is, if you made a mistake and you want to undo what we have done, you can always go up here to undo like this. Very easy to do there. Anyway, if you are looking for this kind of scripts with the objective of cleaning up your Revit model to make it light and fast again, then doing this alone may not be enough. Instead, I would recommend looking at one of the Revit plugins that does model cleanup in a more complete way. For example, you can try RV Deep Clean, this one here. It's a collection of over 40 commands to purge and clean up your Revit file. For example, on the General tab here, I can do purge unused, remove unused scope boxes, clean up unplaced rooms, areas, and spaces, along with the boundary lines if they are unused. Or I can do removing secondary design options, pinning grid lines and levels, or purging unused and empty parameters. If I go now to the next tab for view operations, I can do things like removing view templates or view filters that are unused, deleting views not on sheets, or removing sheets without any views on them. I can also remove any temporary views based on their names. Or going further, I can try to delete orphan tags, orphan dimensions, unused lifestyles, life patterns, or view patterns. Coming down to the links group, I can do things like removing invisible CAD links, pinning Revit links, or moving them to the desired worksets in my model. So essentially, it does what Dynamo can do and more, all in one single place. Let's give it a go now. Okay, so that's now done. As you can see at the end of the process, it has given me a summary of everything that has been cleaned up from my model. Things like unused room separation lines, area boundaries, unused view pattern elements, unused line patterns, or several views not on sheets, they have been deleted for me in one click. Even better, you can try RV Deep Clean completely for free. Just go down to this video description and use the link there to get your free copy today. Anyway, if you just want to remove imported or linked CAD files this time, then this script here will be all you need. The last step for us to complete this is to go to here, select everything, Ctrl C to copy, and drop in here a proper Python script node. I will right click here and choose to say we want to use Python 2, just for maximum compatibility for now. Now when I double click to open it, I can simply paste in here all the text I have copied previously, like so. Save it, close it down, connect the watch node to there, maybe rename this to deleted cat files IDs, like that. And now if I remove all the other nodes, except from the two booleans, I can then connect the two boolean nodes to the new Python script node, just like this. And at this point, I can be certain that this script I have here is no longer dependent on that external test.py file anymore. I can pass this to my colleagues, and they will be able to run it perfectly fine on their computers. So if you want to try this yourself, just go down to this video description and use the link there to download this script directly. If you, however, want to focus on mastering Python scripting in Dynamo, then check out my full Python course in the video description. If you like this lesson and want more like this every single week, make sure to subscribe to this channel now. For now, have a good day and I'll see you in the next tutorial.